gentlemen, the next contest is for the All-Army Combatives Invitational Championship in the middleweight division. 170 pounds. Fighting out of the blue corner, representing Fort Benning, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Aaron Cooper.
Now we talk about these soldiers being ready for this tournament, but more importantly, being ready for the battlefield. Cooper is a guy that has proven he's more than ready for the battlefield many times over.
Tim, as a member of the 1st Ranger Battalion, Sergeant Cooper was involved in all the high-profile missions at the early part of the war.
And he looks forward to taking those real-life experiences now and making them work for him in the ring.
To have put in those deployments with an actual combat unit, then actually get to take some of the experience I had over there, bring it back here. It's just a nice culmination of my Army career to go ahead and, on a very national level, and try to prove what I'm worth.
Sergeant Aaron Cooper has little left to prove after storming through the preliminaries. Few soldiers have more experience in both competitive and real-world applications of Army combatives, and he showed it on his charge towards middleweight glory.
And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, representing the Illinois National Guard, Sergeant Yuriy Fomin.
Sergeant Yuriy Fomin with the Illinois National Guard getting a nice round of applause here by those in attendance. And Matt, we applaud the National Guard as well.
As you can imagine, Tim, the hardest part of training the Army, Guard, and Reserves is to get good instruction out around the Army. And the success of these National Guard soldiers here in this tournament, it shows that we're accomplishing the mission.
Sounds like Fomin's happy with that instruction as well.
I think I have an overall pretty good game. My trainers, basically they teach you how to defend yourself standing up and defend yourself on the ground, all the essentials you need in a fight.
Sergeant Yuriy Fomin's game was more than pretty good. He reached the middleweight championship bout with 4 straight victories. After opening with an arduous 6-minute decision, Fomin never looked back. An impressive submission over undefeated Del Wooden set up Fomin for the title shot against fellow undefeated warrior, Sergeant Aaron Cooper. Ready to go with this middleweight championship bout. It's Sergeant Aaron Cooper, Sergeant Yuriy Fomin. And probably a good time to remind everybody that, you know, we see them, they look healthy here, but they have really been battling for the last 24 to 48 hours just to get to this point.
And both of these fighters tore their way through the competition, submitting all their opponents. This should be an exciting fight.
So it's Cooper in the blue, Fomin in the red. Little swing and a miss there by Cooper. Thought about throwing a kick, and they get tied up here in the early stages of this one.
Looked like he was going to throw that spinning back fist.
Fomin sneaks a little left hand in there and gets a good takedown. So immediately Fomin, for the moment anyway, in control here. But Cooper on the bottom side gets a little choke, maybe working on a guillotine.
It's like he's trying it, but Fomin's keeping that arm tied up on Cooper's left. And Fomin escapes his head, so he's out of danger there.
Fomin slips out. Now they're dangerously close, if not too far under the ropes here. Cooper's head is exposed on the outside, so the referee will step in and move them over. We've talked about this during this tournament, but the referee certainly does not want to get involved in a fight, but even more so doesn't want those ropes to become compromising on one side or the other.
Yeah, the idea, Tim, is that the ropes should not be a factor. So the fighters are not allowed to grab them. They're not really allowed to use them except to push somebody against them when they're standing. And when it gets out underneath them, the referee's going to stop it and pull them back in.
Tell you what I like immediately about both of these fighters, even in this tight situation on the ground, both of them are looking to throw some punches. And Fomin getting the better part of that right now with a free right arm. He passes the guard and may have some submission opportunities here. Cooper still on his back.
It looked like Cooper went for that arm bar, and he took a lot of damage as he was trying. Fomin hit him several times in the head, and that's what made him give it up.
We don't talk about that probably near enough, but sometimes in the attempt of a submission, you do put yourself at risk. So you have to know where you're going, and you need to get to that point in a hurry.
That's one of the reasons that the Combatives program competitions go to these rules. If you have only a grappling championship or only a striking championship or even only this, what you have is fighters who will specialize in that sort of competition. We have to be ready for the battlefield, so you can't really afford that sort of specialization.
You know, to the untrained eye, you might say there's just not a lot happening in this fight, but we had a quick camera angle there that showed Cooper tying up the legs of Fomin and preventing him from getting that full mount position, so there is constant chess match going on here.
That position is called the lockdown, where he's holding his legs like that, and Cooper is looking to either form the full guard or to change the position so he ends up on top. At the same time, Fomin is looking to get that leg loose so he can be on top and rain down some punches.
Cooper not satisfied with just laying there on his back, tries to roll out, and Fomin again does a good job of keeping him right there. So not much change in position. You see Cooper trying to gain some control here and get outside. If he could, he'd like to get to his feet. I think that's where he'd rather have this fight right now.
Fomin's now inside Cooper's full guard. He's being effective with the punches. Cooper has a pretty solid defense, but still some punches are getting through.
Must make you feel good when you see these fighters utilizing the skills that you designed and trained when you wrote the manual for the Army Combatives program, using them effectively in the ring.
Well, it does, Tim, but for me, the real pride comes when they come back from the battlefield and they tell me how it worked when they were there. We do post-action interviews with soldiers who get in fights, so I get literally hundreds of stories of soldiers telling us, this worked, this saved my life.
You see those punches to the ribs of Cooper coming from Fomin. May not feel that bad today, but I guarantee you he'll feel it tomorrow. There'll be some bruises there. Now Cooper gets to the corner. Let's see if he can get to his feet. We said that he'd been working in that direction most of this first round. I don't think he's got enough of a choke there to do anything to Fomin, but he's got him in a good position, maybe to regain some standing position. He's on his feet. Now if he can separate. Fomin trying to get him back on the ground with a takedown, but they're on their feet, and there's a knee and a couple of punches. This is what Cooper was looking for through the entire first round.
Fomin did a great job of shutting down that guillotine. Cooper transitioned right away into strikes.
Couple of punches thrown, not many landed, but that one did from Fomin. Couple of good punches there. So Cooper wanted it on his feet, but Fomin may have got the better part of that exchange here. Under 10 seconds left in the round. The crowd liked the sound of that kick, but there really wasn't much damage. It just sort of grazed the midsection of Fomin, and there is round number one. Wow. Good exchanges, both on their feet and on the ground, but if you're looking at points, strictly points, Matt, you'd have to probably give that round to Fomin.
Well, you can see Fomin got the early takedown. I think he got the better of the strikes, and he was on top most of the round. So, yeah, in a 10-point must system, you'd probably have to score that 10-9 for Fomin.
And even with the punches, and that one actually in the replay doesn't look as bad as it did in real time. Looked like it just glanced across the forehead of Cooper. So, you know, in the back of your mind, just mark that down here. This one's scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds, but it's very possible that the judges will give that first round to Fomin. Round number 2 coming up. Again, it's Cooper in the blue, Fomin in the red. And let's see if they get back to the ground. If so, Fomin, I would think, probably would like it there. Cooper wants to do his fighting right here. Thought again about that kick, but he's just not letting it go. A couple of good exchanges here.
It looks like Cooper, knowing he got taken down in the first round, is trying to be more aggressive. Maybe be the one pushing the action.
Cooper does a good job of getting an exchange in there, too. Now he's the one looking for a takedown and gets this fight back in his control. But you saw a good combination, a kick to the lower body, a strike to the head, and now he goes for the takedown. Let's see what he can do now, fighting within the guard of Fomin.
Fomin's closing his guard. He's holding Cooper down. You see Cooper trying to make some space, probably going to try to rain down some punches. There it is.
That's exactly what he's doing. So far, though, Fomin doing a good job of blocking those punches. Sometimes a fighter will get themselves in trouble when they try to create that space and actually give an opportunity to that fighter on the bottom with a triangle choke submission or an armbar.
That's true, and the main defense to those sort of things is to have good posture and to keep your arms in the middle. And by good posture, I mean your head has to be above your butt. So we have a say in the Combatives program that head down and butt up is no way to go through life. And you're gonna see Cooper trying to execute that.
Couple of hammer fists there from double hammer fist, as a matter of fact, from Cooper, who continues to rain down some bombs. But if you just pay attention to the head of Fomin, I don't think many of those are getting through. They look a lot worse than they are at this point.
I think Cooper's getting some of them through.
There's another one of those double hammers.
Fomin is putting a pretty solid defense here. His guard is good.
And you see Cooper trying to throw a couple of shots to the ribs. see if that will cause Fomin to drop an arm and block it so that he can then get to the head. I think we may see another double hammer coming here. Let's see. Cooper's used that as a good attack. Look at Fomin, though, lifting Cooper completely off the ground.
Landed a solid hammer fist there after he turned the angle.
So back within the guard is Cooper. Somebody in the crowd looking good. Yuriy, even on the ground. Yuri's doing a good job of blocking this. Quite effectively, Matt.
I think Cooper is landing some good, solid punches, but he's having a hard time with it.
Tell you what, so far, I think the forearms of Fomin probably getting more of a workout than the head. And these punches will take a lot out of Cooper in the long run. So if you're looking at the long-term of this, long-term results of this fight, all of those strikes will take it out of you later. Let's see what happens.
Looks like Cooper is finally starting to try to pass, but he's not having an easy time of it. Fomin is doing a very good job threatening him whenever he creates some space.
I think Fomin's just busy playing defense here. Cooper doing a good job of keeping the pressure on him constantly. He'll play a little game of cat and mouse here where he will come in close, and then he'll pop up, throw a couple of punches, and then come right back down and close that space. And I don't know if you could tell from that shot, but it looks like there's a little blood, a cut possibly on the right eye of Fomin. It doesn't look like it's going to be anything that's going to cause him problems or certainly stop this fight. But we'll keep an eye on that. There's another one of those double hammers, this time to the midsection, and Cooper follows it to the head. See if he can soften him up that way and take a little wind out of his opponent.
Cooper is being very active in the guard, mostly with punches, but he's mixing it up. Punching the body, one hand, two hands, hammer fist, straight punches.
I said it early in this fight when they were on the ground. I was impressed with both of these guys staying active on the ground and in the guard. And there's another double hammer that misses. 10 seconds left in round number 2. Blood now visibly running from that right eye of Fomin. If that goes into the eye, it could become a big problem for Fomin. But wow, we come to the end of round number 2. If you gave round 1 to Fomin, you'd have to say Cooper probably has the advantage in round number 2. What will happen in round number 3 of this middleweight championship bout? We'll find out. Welcome back once again, the middleweight championship bout. It is Sergeant Aaron Cooper, Sergeant Yuriy Fomin, Tim Hughes along with Matt Larson. And you look at those hammer fists, they actually look a lot worse than they actually were in that second round.
Fomin was doing a good job of holding them off, that's for sure.
We're ready to go with round number 3 again. Cooper in the blue, Fomin in the red.
Fomin lands a good right hand.
And they dance a little bit here. I don't know if that meant that there was some damage done and somebody's holding on to regain their wits about them, but kind of an awkward takedown, if that, but that one's not so awkward. Cooper throws Fomin back down, and this is kind of where we were in round number 2.
We'll see if this round Cooper can make some more advantage, get a better position. Last round he was stuck inside Fomin's guard, feeling the pressure.
Yeah, and already there's a little difference here. He's in the half guard position or half mount position and working more towards that full mount. So far Fomin doing a good job of fighting that off.
We saw this position reversed in the earlier rounds with Cooper on the bottom in half guard, trying to either get the full guard or to get back on top.
Fomin's got to be careful about throwing any of those punches to the back of the head. The referee will scold him for that if it happens too many times. And, yeah, they're really battling here. Now, all of a sudden, Cooper back in the guard position of Fomin. So this does look a lot like round number 2. Now we're just speculating, but if the judges see it the same way we did with Fomin winning 1, Cooper winning 2, let's see who will impress the judges for round number 3. And Cooper's going to take good advantage of the opportunity to throw some punches.
He actually looked better throwing punches there than he did in round number 2.
More precise with those punches, certainly. And maybe his corner talked to him about being a little more careful with the placement of those punches rather than just throwing them willy-nilly out there.
Also in the third of 3 5-minute rounds, fatigue has got to start being a factor for these guys.
So the question is, how much is there behind those punches? I wouldn't want one of those coming my way, right to the ribs of Fomin.
Looks like Cooper still has plenty of zip.
So Fomin starts to climb up the body here. He may be looking for a submission, and if he's going to fight this third round from his back, he's going to have to be looking for a submission to pull this one off.
Generally speaking, as we said earlier, the person on the bottom is not winning the fight. They can, at any moment, pull it out. You know, there's arm bars, chokes, there's lots of tools to the person on the bottom. But the guard is basically a defensive position.
And we'll see what Cooper can give Fomin here. If he can get outside the guard, there may be an opportunity for Fomin to move one way or the other and get some type of a submission. Looked like he was going to lock it on there, but Cooper forces his way out of it, momentarily anyway. And we're right back to square one.
Fomin threatening with the triangle choke. But we talked about posture before. The way Cooper avoids that is to keep good posture.
Fomin, for a moment there, had half of a butterfly guard going. What is the purpose of the butterfly guard? Is it just to maybe use that to force your opponent up and turn your way out and reverse him?
The butterfly guard is whenever you have your toes hooked underneath your attacker's legs. It gives you the ability to elevate them and make some more space.
Right now, the only one taking advantage of that space, though, is Cooper, although Fomin throws a couple of punches that do find their target there with Cooper in the corner.
Fomin has a very active guard. You can tell that Cooper feels the pressure of it. He's making some moves, but he's mostly making moves to allow himself to strike more and not to advance his position. When he did before, he almost got the triangle.
I don't know if you can hear that breathing in the corner, but a minute and a half left in this marathon that has been a championship bout for the middleweights. Who can pull it out in the last 90 seconds? This is where a fighter needs to dig deep into their gas tank and see what they've got left. And really, you'll hear corners sometimes yell, short time, meaning give it all you got here and finish strong. There's some blood on the knee there of Fomin. I don't know where that's coming from, but they got a little rug burn there.
It looks like Cooper's bleeding from someplace. I'm not sure where.
Fomin looks like the busier of the two fighters here, although Cooper throwing some punches underneath. I'm not sure the judges will actually see that. And you're right, there's blood there on the side of Fomin, so Cooper's bleeding somewhere. We haven't been able to get a good angle on it to see where it may be coming from. And unfortunately, I know the referee didn't want to do this in the final minute of this fight. Brings them back out and will reset in that original position. Let's see who can turn it on here to finish this one strong for the judges. It's not going to be enough to stay there and throw an occasional punch. You better be busy. And right now, here comes Fomin. Almost gets a submission. Looked like he was working toward the triangle. 10 seconds left. Who's going to come on with a flurry? It's Cooper. 2 shots to the midsection, a couple to the head. Finishing strong is Cooper. Will that be enough to impress the judges? Fomin, though, Matt, you have to say did a pretty good job there of at least making a submission attempt.
Tim, I think that Cooper was doing really good damage with his strikes. Fomin had some good submission attempts, but as I said earlier, a submission attempt that fails is like a punch that misses.
Yeah, well, that one didn't miss. You see, a fake with the left, a solid right hand from Fomin, and Cooper immediately takes him down to the ground. Is it enough to sway the judges Cooper's way? We got a judge's decision coming. Let's get that decision.
This fight has gone to the judge's decision. Our first judge scores the fight 29-27. The second judge scores the fight 29-28. And the third judge scored the fight 30-28. Your winner and champion of the 2007 All-Army Combatives Invitational at 170 pounds, fighting out of the blue corner, Sergeant
Sergeant Aaron Cooper, your middleweight champion, close on the judges' scorecards, close throughout the fight. You hate to see anybody walk away without their hand raised in this one. Congratulations again. Hang on, we'll be right back with the heavyweight third-place bout, specialist Daryl Schoonover and Sergeant Julian Wiggins.